Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Down in the Valley podcast. We're back. After an almost month-long hiatus, we are back to talk about the RGVFC Toros. It's great to be back now from the Rio Grande Valley. Now we're all 100% a Valley show. If for those who were complaining about, oh, es que este güey está in Houston. Well, guess what? I'm living in the Rio Grande Valley now, so deal with it. Anyways, y'all know who I'm talking about. But, guys, it's a great time to be back. Great opportunity. We have the home opener coming up against New Mexico United. We have some off-season discussion to bring you all over here. We've got signings. We've got the Puma kits. We've got a lot to talk about this week. So we'll go ahead and make it real quick. I just want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Natural Beauty Spa, Roughneck Scarves, Icarus FC, and of course the Beautiful Game Network for hosting our podcast. I also want to thank our patrons. I want to thank Johnny. I want to thank Santos. I want to thank English is hard. I want to thank Jeff Strong, Harry Austin, Gilbert Guajardo. I want to thank them all for their support, and I know I'm missing one right off the top of my head. So forgive me. Thank you all for your support. As y'all can see, there's been some additions. To the tech that we're using. Just recently moved to McAllen. It's all there. Thank you all so much for your support. If you guys are interested in supporting us financially, check out patreon.com/down in the RGV. There's different tiers that you can choose from. Each of them have different perks. And speaking of perks, I am going to be postponing. Usually the Patreon show is usually like the last Wednesday of every month. Due to the timing, I will be postponing that until next week. So patrons, be on the lookout. By the way, Eddie de la Garza, that's what I was forgetting. Patrons, be on the lookout on the Patreon app for a post where I will be posting the Zoom link. Today, I'm not alone, even without the patrons. The gang is back, ladies and gentlemen. Jacob is back. Rey is back. We're here. We're going to be talking about the Toros. And let's go ahead and give them a huge shout out. And let's talk first to Jacob. Jacob, how you doing, man?
Well, doing really well. Looking forward to talking about some Toros soccer. It's going to be very fun. And yeah, very glad to be back after about a month or two. So work was busy and now it's a little bit better. So going back, it's awesome.
How much did you miss being on the show? You can be honest. You can say you didn't miss it at all if you want to.
How much did I miss being on the show? Well, I mean, I like talking soccer. I missed it some for sure. I mean, like a ton. I still missed it, is what I'm saying. So it's always fun because this is so great.
And we've also got a good friend of the show, recurring special guest, Rey Silva of South Texas Motorsports. Rey, how you doing?
Good evening to all the audience out there, Jacob. Welcome back once again, bud. Good to see you back out here, joining the regular rotation of guests for the Down to the Valley show. Edson, thanks for the warm welcome. It's a privilege to be here today.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you on. Your analysis of the USL and, of course, of the Toros is very, very appreciated. You almost kind of give the analytical side of it. We've got the fan side between me and Jacob. You get a little bit of analysis here and there, but the more you've got the cold-headed analysis in the show, which is really, really appreciated. And sometimes you hold it. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, you hold us back from like really bad hot takes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But guys, all right. So first things first. This is the end of preseason. There were a lot of news to talk about. Let's talk about, before we go into the actual team and the signings that we haven't talked about yet. Let's talk about a little bit about the biggest news outside of the independents, but the biggest news that we had in this offseason. So we talked about Puma, that RGVFC will not be wearing Puma. And last week, they actually presented officially the new home kit for the RGVFC Toros. I'm pretty sure you all have seen it. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and Google it. But basically, it is a blue shirt with the hexagon template, with white shorts and blue socks. Now, I want to get y'all's opinion. So in the chat, anybody's in the chat, be sure to give us your opinion on the jerseys, and also please share the broadcast with all of your friends. I know it was kind of a last minute thing or a comeback, but we're here. But let everybody know that we are live to talk about the Toros, and we're going to be continuing live. But anyway, so this is my opinion on the kit. And I mentioned this on Twitter multiple times. The design in and of itself is nice. I really like it. But the fact that almost every USL team that is going to wear Puma for this season is using the hexagon template makes it lose a little bit of the specialness of the kit. And I mean, as you'll probably know, we talked about it when Ron was on the show. The problem with custom kits is that it's a long process. You're talking about pretty much almost a year to go through the process of designing, making mock-ups, presenting it to the team's front office for their approval, and then the mass production of those kits. It takes a while. So by the time the Toros announced that they've gone to Puma to when they needed to present it, it was a short turnaround. Now that's what I'm expecting, the reason why almost everybody that has Puma are using the hexagon templates. But come on, Puma. Like, see, really, you don't have any other templates that the teams can use other than the hexagon one? Like, everybody uses templates. We know that. Nike, Adidas, Puma, Umbro. But make it varied a little. Now, I don't know if it just so happened that all of the team's front office decided to use the template. I don't know. I have zero information about that. But still, it's like, come on, like, a lot of, like, make it varied a little. Now, the blue and the white, I specifically like that. It harkens back. It's a different shade of blue, like Ray told me last time. It's a different shade of blue. But it brings back memories not only of this 2016 season. I believe the third kit was the blue one, or was that the away kit? Because I know they used the white one more in 2016.
They used a white top with a blue bottom.
And the blue was training, was it?
I know it was used a handful of times. And in fact, I think it was the same uniform that was used
for the home.
It was used, that particular kit was used to get our first victory on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Because it took the team a little while to get a good home result with either kit.
Yeah, so back in 2016, if y'all remember the blue kit, and I know it exists because my dad has it, but it used the same template as the home kit. But so I like that it harkens back to 2016. But blue and white, technically it's been a characteristic of the Bravos and the Grandes. Granted, a darker shade of blue, but the combination is traditional for the Valley nonetheless. That's the way I think. And I don't know if it was intentional or it just so happened to be like that, but I like it. I like the combination of blue and white.
I'm fine with the blue and white. Hexagons, I think, yes, that's what Puma has. That's what RGVFC, I guess, will have to take. It's one of those situations where, growing up watching MLS and all of that and seeing it constantly being Adidas, I've grown up to see Adidas on a jersey and been a fan of that. I don't necessarily care for Pumas that much. The jersey is nice. It's a good shade of blue. It's not orange. And that's the biggest thing that right now everybody could care about because, well, it shows that RGVFC were trying to go for separation. And so that works out perfectly. Yes, the logo is going to stay the same. The Toros logo is. But for the most part, they're creating their own identity. And so that helps out. Yes, everybody's going to be wearing the hexagon, but let's all remember, as long as every single jersey that the USL is using is not that shade of blue, I think it's going to look pretty solid on every other team's shirt that ends up using that.
So before I go with Ray, I do want to address a couple of things in the chat. So a huge shout out to Santos, to Code Awesome. He says, I missed the beginning, but bro, why are you in the dark? I forgot to set the key light on. and I also have the Key Light Air. That's my primary light. I'm still trying to set everything up at my parents' house now that I moved to McAllen. I'm not living in Houston anymore, so it was like kind of take the makeshift studio all the way down here. So I'm still trying to figure some things out. We'll be adding some additional stuff that I purchased throughout the next couple of weeks. So bear with me with that. Have a little bit of patience. We should get back to where we ended in Houston soon enough. All right, so Harry says, "What's up, RGV Nation? Edson, we need more light." I already fixed that. Hopefully, if you guys need more light from me, just let me know, guys. Sloth says, "The kit is nice, but why is it the home kit? Rather have orange as a home." Okay, so I think we mentioned it on Twitter, and I think with Harry on United Soccer FC. But this is my theory. So officially or unofficially official, the Tourists decided to go with a different color other than orange for the home kit because they want to maintain some distance, or they want to separate themselves from the identity of the Dynamo. But my theory is technically that hexagon template is not available in orange. So I think that's more likely the reason why the home kit is in orange. It's just that template isn't available in orange. So, I mean, it could be that. I mean, who knows what the real answer is? But as a fan, and seeing the Puma catalog myself, that hexagon template not available in orange. It's available in regular blue. It's available in dark blue, as you can see by Indy 11. It's available in white. It's available in red, green, yellow. Which one was the? I think I saw pink, light blue, and black, as you can see by Austin Bold, and turquoise. Just look at New Mexico United's kit. But yeah, that is my theory in regards to why we're using blue this season. So Harry then says, "Hey, who is the stranger at Coda?" That's you, Jacob. And then Sloth says, "New job with RGVFC?" No, I'm not affiliated with RGVFC officially or anything like that. It's just a new regular job that I accepted. That has to do with my career as a programmer, and I am very thankful for the job. Now I'm going to be closer to covering the Toros. What I wanted, closer to the family as well, and closer to the land that I grew up and I love, which is the Rio Grande Valley. But yeah, Ray, your thoughts on the new kit?
I like it. I mean, growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, that Puma uniform takes me back to when Mexican soccer teams would do so well against Southern American club teams in the Copa Libertadores. And one of the teams that comes to mind is Emelec of Ecuador, El Equipo del Bombilla, which means a huge energy company which would support that team. They were Puma at the time, and the Puma logo and the team logo stood out so much that every time a Mexican soccer team would kick their it would be fun. But the Puma brand itself, I like it because it brings a little bit more originality to the USL. It kind of gives it a little bit it kind of gives Puma now more of a North American recognition and brand wise. So there's that to take in. And what I really like about it locally is that there's very, very few places that can offer Puma products that are not you could say soccer official licensed products. So that's what I kind of like about Puma, is that now it's going to become like a little bit of a game changer, unless you're a fan of Rayados, which they've been able to establish themselves a little bit here in the Valley. But what I really like about this kit is that it's going to create a identity that the fans can reach out, grab, and and get a hold of. Kind of have the semblance of a year one uniform with those same colors going the opposite direction now.
Mm-hmm. So obviously there's positives about Puma, and then there's a negative, and that is the fit of the jerseys. What do I mean by this? Well, I haven't received my training jersey yet, but this has nothing to do with the team store being slow. It just so happened that when I moved over here, and USPS, even though I put in the change of address, sent it over to my apartment in Houston. So I haven't been able to go over there and get it. But what I have been told is that Puma kits, including ours, training kits, and I'm hearing as well that the home kits, the game worn kits, they're smaller than normal. So for example, I've heard comments from Stampede members that already received their training kit, is that an XL is kind of like between a medium and a large. So in order to be safe, like if you are large, get an XL. If you're an XL, get a 2XL. Or take the decision I made and start doing everything you can to lose weight. That's on me. That's because I ordered the kits before I knew that. Sigh. But yeah, so that's the issue with Puma kits. They run small compared to other providers. The designs are nice. Here's something interesting that I noticed when I saw the team store. And this is something that has never been offered to the Toros, and I think this is a plus of having them being an actual kit sponsor rather than a provider. So what's the difference between a kit sponsor and a kit provider? Well, a kit sponsor, technically, especially like with the bigger teams, kit sponsors actually pay the club to provide the kits and design them for the club.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they'll have the opportunity of customization, the opportunity of having little creative abilities on the numbers, on the design of the actual jersey, etc., etc., etc. I'm assuming that's what's in this agreement with Puma, right? Now, a kit provider, which was what we had under Adidas and Nike, is when the Toros or the team have to pay Nike or Adidas or whatever or whoever to get the jerseys. A lot of the times the kit providers, you go to the catalog, you try to find the template that you like, and you order them. So you pay Nike, you pay Adidas to get those jerseys. If you want to add your crest, you want to add your sponsors, that mostly would have to be done in-house at the team, or they'd have to, go to a local screen printing shop and put the crest and the sponsor on the kit. But that's the biggest difference with provider and sponsor. But what's interesting about Puma is that if you go into the team store website, there's two versions of the home kit that are available. You've got the fan version, which is your regular Puma version, and then you've got your authentic version. If you thought Puma, the regular one, was slim fit, these authentic ones are even more slim.
Yep.
And they cost like $25 more. But it's the jerseys that the actual players are going to be wearing on the field. More often than not, they're made of lighter material. They're made with a different stitching to save weight as well and make it more comfortable for the athletes on the field. That's the biggest difference. I think the if you guys know Adidas, so you've got your Aero Ready, which is what we had under when we were in Adidas. We've had Aero Ready. So basically, those are the fan versions that even the team would wear. But for example, like in MLS, the Heat Ready are the actual player versions, made of lighter material. Even the crest is made out of different lightweight material, etc., etc., etc. So we're gonna have a similar treatment under Puma this year. So I think that is interesting, and I'm excited, or I'm interested to seeing, like, chat, like, have you all bought your kits already? Which version did you buy? Are you really looking forward to years 2 and 3 of the Puma deal? So, guys, you guys have any final comments on the kits?
For me, I'll take the lead one here, Jacob.
Okay.
For me, like I've said, they're a nice looking kit. Would it be something that I would buy? At some point I would, but I'm not much of soccer jersey guy. I'll just wait for polos or dry fit shirts to come out to see what they have available in the pro shop in the nearby future. But it would be something that I would contemplate purchasing, but in form of a polo.
Yeah, and my final thought kind of is, yes, kit looks nice. I'm more of an Adidas guy though, but other than that, it does help that Toros kind of get that little bit more of their own thing, is what I'm trying to say. And of course, you brought up a good point, Edson, that it is going to be cool that we're going to have two versions of the jerseys, where one's authentic and one's, the regular one, just like the MLS had with Adidas, that deal. So it does help out. I think Nike is just a little too heavy, and I'm glad they moved on from them. Of course, this is the Valley. That's always going to be a problem, but yeah, I'm excited.
So Harry says, as I told you last week, if they had come out earlier, I think it would have went over better. I agree. If they had been released earlier, before Austin, before New Mexico, before Indy 11, I think the wow factor would have been bigger. Not necessarily within McAllen or the Valley, because I think overall it had a very positive response here in the Rio Grande Valley from what I'd seen in Facebook and social media comments. But I think overall, like within the United States, within the USL at a national level, I think would have made a bigger impact. And whereas by the time the Toros released theirs, I think that everybody's like, it just became a meme within and of itself. Thank you, USL memes, for doing that. But it was already played out, and they haven't even played a game in the USL Championship season. So, there's that. But there is one thing that it surprised me, but I think it's good. Reliant is our new kit sponsor. I don't know the specifics financially, how much they're giving the Toros, but I think the fact that Reliant technically it's a national sponsor because they are part of NRG. That's the national brand, and Reliant, I think it's the Texas brand. So technically they are part of a national corporation. So I think that's that is a good signing by Ron Patel. But I think what I like best about having Reliant is that they were open to having what we call design friendly. They're a design friendly sponsor. Yep. Unlike Nature Valley, where they were forced to wear the actual brand color, and it was kind of like clashing with the colors on the kit. Now it's like they have a design friendly sponsor where the accents on the shirt are white, and so Reliant is going to be white. It's not like, for example, black. And you know how the stars on the Reliant logo are kind of multicolored? Well, it's not. It's a base of white. It looks really elegant on the kit, and I like that. Design wise on this jersey. Looking forward to getting mine in my hands, to be honest. But so Code Awesome says, I'm glad it's not Adidas. I'm tired of the shoulder stripes.
I'm not. I actually grew to like them. I mean, if you look, just really, for example, if you look at the way that the champions, Columbus Crew, were able to do theirs, it looks perfect. It looks really nice to me. It just it blends in really well.
It was part of the template. All MLS 25th anniversary jerseys had them, so it's like it wasn't anything different between. Now, exactly. I hated that design. I like the regular 3-stripe shoulder design. But then again, I am biased since I am a huge Adidas fan. It doesn't help that Tigres is sponsored by Adidas, but I get what he's saying. It's so played out. Every Adidas team has the shoulder stripes or the side stripes. So for those,
that's going to be the hexagons, though.
That is going to be
if they're not careful.
That is going to be the hexagons. But remember, the hexagons really are not a brand. They are not a trademark associated with Puma, whereas the shoulder stripes are with Adidas. So year in and year out, you're going to see a variation of those shoulder stripes. Whereas in Puma, I highly doubt going forward to the next cycle of templates, I doubt we'll see the return of the hexagons with a Puma jersey. So there's the biggest difference right there. So, all right, moving forward, we talked about the kit. We talked about the new sponsor. We're going to try to go quickly, so we can move forward. All right, so off-season. Where did we leave off? We left off with the announcement of Diego Rocha as the first RGVFC Academy member to earn a professional contract with RGVFC Toros. We talked a little bit about that on the show last month. So what happened after that? Well, I think the biggest bombshell, if it wasn't that I found on Instagram that on his Instagram story that he was training at HEB Park, so that kind of spoiled the surprise. Well, thank you, Instagram. I don't know what to do without you. But yes,
exactly. So, thank you, players who decide to do that too. Remember, we've had some spoilers before from the players.
Yeah, pretty much. So Vicente Sanchez, a veteran, was signed by the Toros to be a player assistant coach for the 2021 season. Vicente Sanchez, I think if you're a Liga MX fan, there's really not a lot to say that you guys don't know. I mean, legend at Club America, legend at Club Toluca, went to Schalke 04, played for the Dynamo, played for Colorado Rapids, played for Club America. So he has a lot of experience even at the national team. He didn't go to the World Cup, but he did play Copa America with the Uruguayan national team. Now, however, he is pretty old. He is 41. He did come out of retirement. Last I heard from other Dynamo podcasts, I think it was Andres from the Foxtrot, mentioned that Vicente Sanchez was working for the Dynamo as a South American scout. And so Wilmer calls Vicente Sanchez, tells him about the opportunity, about the Toros, and he wholeheartedly agreed. Now he's coming out of retirement to play that, to be that player assistant coach. Really interesting to see. We do know that he just finished getting his coaching license. So that's going to be good practice for him if he wants to become a head coach somewhere along in the future. With the Houston Dynamo, he did play as a winger. Usually he would come in the last couple of minutes. And I don't think it's exaggerated for me to say that outside of Albert Feliz and Mano Manotas, when he would come in, like he was the best player out there. He was pretty much, that clutch player for the Houston Dynamo when he would come in at 37 years old when he was at the Houston Dynamo at that time. So Vicente's talented. How much will we see from him? Especially like he's years out of the loop, out of the professional soccer loop. It will be interesting to see. I don't expect him to be a starter. If we do see him as a starter, I have to say that there's some problems with our roster if he has to be a starter. But
everybody leaving halfway through the season.
But I think he's going to bring a lot of experience to help the young guys that were brought in to kind of help to continue to develop them. I mean, they already have, unlike in the previous years, even the young guys have USL experience. So, but when things are going tough, unlike other seasons where we didn't have that veteran presence, now we have that veteran presence. He'll be a player that is going to keep the young guys level-headed, especially when you're going against Austin Bold FC. They play with the knife like between their teeth, So you need to have players that will maintain their composure and lead the everybody around him. Also, whenever you need that experience, you need that garra charrua. Vicente Sanchez is going to give it to you. If you need to, for example, you need to kill time. You're winning like 2-1, and it's like the 89th minute, and it's like the referee just announced, we're going to be adding 5 minutes of stoppage time. And you need to kill time. Vicente is going to be the man to do it. He's going to be that player that's going to take that ball all the way to the corner flag, block the defenders from taking it away from him, and that kind of thing. Or, for example, like try to find the foul before the defenders so that they can call a free kick in favor, kind of kill some time right there. That's going to be a big plus. That's where Vicente, I think players like Vicente is going to be a huge help to the RGVFC Toros. I think last season, we want to go take an example. Last season, we didn't have that until the last game where Victor Garza played a couple of minutes against OKC Energy, if I'm not mistaken, where he did that kind of thing. So I think that's a huge plus right there. What do you guys think about Vicente Sanchez?
Yeah, I'll take the lead this time. I think Vicente Sanchez, he's going to be a great coach. I think that's really where he will stand out as a player coach. I know I got told this on Twitter because this is kind of true. I'm going to just sidetrack real quick. There's this racing league called SRX. Guess what their average age is? Oh, it's about 40 to 50. Not even kidding. So, yeah, it's a bunch of 50 to 60-year-olds who are racing in that racing league, stepping back to a race car for the first time. And I bring that up because, Vicente Sanchez is not any younger. He's about 40. Well, he just said 41 years of age. So it's very difficult to see that he's going to be that player out on the pitch where he's going to be amazing. But he, just like he said, is going to help out when he does play. He's going to give that veteran presence where he's going to help, just like Tyler Derrick out on goal. He's going to help out and say, look, do this, do that. It's going to be better. Even he can say that on the sidelines to people, coming back, maybe to Wilmer. If Wilmer doesn't necessarily want to talk, if Vicente happens to be on the bench, he can maybe even try and yell something to a player or get a player close to him to tell him, look, do this. This will work better than what you're doing here. Also in practice. So, yeah, he's going to help out. I know we've talked about it in the past, even with RGVFC, when RGVFC was still very close to Houston Dynamo. And for that first time ever, we signed for a short time Tyler Derrick when he came down. And I remember Sean and us talking about it and saying, look, that Tyler Derrick right there, he's going to give that veteran presence to him. He's very good at yelling. He's very good at telling people what they need to do and just giving it straight up to them. So that's going to be huge. I think that he's going to be a big piece into making this team actually gym together and have that chemistry. Because if you don't have the chemistry with all the stars that we have, it's going to be a big problem.
To be honest, I think I am really going to see more of a coaching Vicente Sanchez instead of a playing Vicente Sanchez. And one of those odd moments that the team had at one point during the inaugural season, they had to go face Sporting Kansas City on the road once, and they didn't have their normal backup keeper at the time. And Donovan Dowling had to suit up and get that player coach role designed to him, and he had to be the backup keeper for the Toros at one time. And I think we may see that up to maybe 4 times, maybe 5, if I had to take a guess. But I think this is going to be more of a Vicente Sanchez trying to become more of a coach. After all, he did learn his license, and hopefully he can put it into play in case Wilmer does get a red card or something to him during the regular season.
So you spoke with Vicente Sanchez in on when he was first announced. They had like a press conference with him, and you were able to get some words with him. What was his response to, or what were some of the feedback that you got from the player being signed from him?
Honestly, that he was looking to become more of a coach and help out in the best way possible and help out a lot of the youngsters that are still in the team and still trying to get the professional feel for it. And you're looking at players like Alexis Cerritos being one of them, who's a young 20-year-old prospect, and some of the other guys who have signed on with the team, like a Colin Miller type of guy who's 23, 24. And yes, he has that USL experience, but now you kind of want to mesh that with a little bit more professional guidance that these players need in order to accelerate their playing careers. So that's kind of the feel that I got from Vicente Sanchez, that he's looking forward to being more of a coach. And if he needs to be a player, well, guess what? He'll be that player.
Moving forward, we've got the announcements of Colin Miller as a goalkeeper. I'm assuming he's going to be a backup goalkeeper to Tyler Derrick. They also announced the signing of midfielder Babukar Jai for the 2021 season. Jai played for Atlanta United 2 last season. He made 11 appearances with 7 starts, 6 clearances, and 12 interceptions. He is 25 years old. 79.9% passing accuracy and 7 key passes during the campaign. And then we also were talking about Colin Miller. He is another of those players coming in from Lowdown United, FC, Loudoun United. Thank you. I keep on saying it wrong. 7 starts with Loudoun, 1 clean sheet, 28 saves overall, including 2 penalty kicks and a 65.1 save percentage. He did have a save of the month in August 29th, 2020, but that's pretty much it. It seems like, for example, with Colin Miller, I haven't looked at his stats compared to like everybody else within the league, but you think those are acceptable numbers for a backup keeper?
Well, I mean, I think so, considering what RGVFC has had in the past couple of years, especially going back to last year, how just off both the keepers were. Remember the first game, giving up 5 goals. I think right there we saw a backup keeper having to start, is my point. And so with the experience behind a leader like Tyler Derrick, just in case Tyler Derrick has an injury, which he's been prone to having, I believe, his knee injury or something like that, having to get his knee wrapped or something like that a lot.
Was it? Yeah, I think. I need to double check on that, so don't quote me. But continue.
Okay, well, my point being that I think really just Tyler Derrick in general, he's going to help out our backup keeper. That's my point. Having him behind Tyler Derrick is going to help him out just in case when he does have to, he's going to be right there in goal. Just, of course, not as great as Tyler Derrick, but he's going to have a lot of improvement when he has to make that start.
Regarding Tyler Derrick's injuries, I think looking at transfer market, so he did have an abdominal strain in 15-16 season where he was out 4 days. 16-17 season had another abdominal strain where he was out for 6 games. But in that same year, he had an elbow injury where he was gone for 131 days, missing 10 games. But that's 4 years ago. Now, keep in mind as well that he had a couple of years where he was out, where he was released from the Dynamo. So, I mean, granted, I don't think injuries will be a problem with Tyler Derrick. So, but having a good backup keeper is always good. You never know what's going to happen. Remember, what was it, 2 years ago? Yes, 2 years ago.
Yep.
Austin Bold at Coda, specifically your background. Unwarranted red card on Nico Corti.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Ben Willis stepping in, making an outstanding save right then and there.
Cough, cough, not Joe Willis.
Man, I miss him. I need to say hi to him. I haven't spoken to him in a while. Hope he's doing okay. But having a good backup keeper, you never know when you're going to need him. Mm-hmm. Tyler Derrick might, for some reason, become positive of COVID. He might get injured in training or in a game. A red card. You never know. You're going to need a good backup keeper in order to continue on with this team. So that might just be Colin Muller. And once we start talking about preseason, there's something that I did see based on tweets, but about Colin Muller. But moving on, Alex Cerritos was signed to the RGV Toros, as well as Juan David Cabezas. A key element for that Houston Dynamo of Wilmer Cabrera in the holding midfield. Chingate esa. No, but really.
Yeah, I mean, Juan David Cabezas, Jeffrey Organ, took all the allotted English questions, which kind of left me a couple of Spanish ones, which translated, what do you want to accomplish while you're here in the Rio Grande Valley, was one of the questions that I posed to him in Spanish. He goes, you know what, I just want to contribute the best way I can. And right now I feel like we have the good young energy to kind of mix in with the younger and older players right now. And I just want to play the role that I had in Houston, but apply it down here, which would be just continuously be performing regularly and at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on media day when Juan Cusain and Juan David Cabezas were made available to the media, where apparently you caught something but didn't want to spoil it for us, Edson. Wink, wink.
Oh, don't worry about it. I knew about it before even that.
So you knew before about it, but didn't want to throw the chink in the armor, huh?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, let's remember what happened to Edson that first year before he even had a media pass.
Oh my God. So
It goes back
for
to that.
all of- so for
FC Cincinnati still has a USL team.
So okay,
Yeah.
so for the Down in the Valley veterans, you all know what I'm going to be talking about. But here's the story: 2017 off season. I get a message telling me, "Hey, this is going to be the RGVFC home kit." He didn't give me a picture of a player wearing it or anything like that. He just said, it's going to be this template, and it is going to be orange and black. Okay, so I go on the Nike catalog, I find that template. I did know beforehand that the Toros crest was going to have the holographic bulls similar to the Dynamo's 2016 season's jersey, where it had the holographic sun flares. I knew before about that. A former member of the, I think he was still working with the Toros at that time, but he had told us, you know, that's all he could tell us about the crest, that it was going to be holographic. So I knew about that. So anyway, he tells me that Lone Star National Bank was going to be the sponsor. Tells me the template. So I make a FIFA mock-up, you know, using the FIFA model that I use for FIFA modding. I create the kit. I show it to him. He's like, look, it's going to, you know, everything looks good except for the Lone Star National Bank crest. I had like the big square and then Lone Star National Bank in the bottom. It's going to be just like it was. Total. I take that FIFA mock-up that I had made. I just kind of like crop it so where you can only see like the crest, the Nike, and then a couple of the little stripes. That's all. I upload that to Twitter. And next thing you know, oh, by the way, this was in the middle of class at UTRGV. So, anyway, I get a call, an angry call, saying, why did you leak it? We had plans to make a whole big kit review party and you just ruined it, yada, 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 take it down. I was like, okay, fine, I'll take it down. But it sucked because there was a lot of positive feedback from Dynamo fans and RGV fans on the La Carga Naranja at that time Twitter account. So it's like, you're building momentum within the fan base. Why do you want me to take it down? But okay, if it's the wishes of the organization, fine. Yo no quería pedos, como dicen en español. Couple of minutes later, I think either that day or the day before, it was media day. So they were taking, you know, the official pictures with the players. Somebody had posted on an Instagram story them taking pictures with the jerseys. Somebody managed to take a screenshot, or they managed to get a picture of it. They posted it on Twitter as well, like with an actual player wearing it. A couple of minutes later, when I try to go back to it, I get the typical failed to load treat. So I message that Twitter account. I tell them, hey, did the organization tell you to bring it down? And they're like, yep. I was like, yeah, they did the same thing to me. But the story is, it's like, after going through that and pretty much earning the hatred of Bert Garcia and some other former members of the RGVFC front office, I was like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Like, I'll let them do them at the end of the day, because yeah, I don't want to deal with front office messaging me like, hey, what you say, or like, why did you leak that, yada yada yada. Okay, I know it's normal in the soccer world. I know kit leaks are normal. I've seen it with Real Madrid. I've seen it with almost every club in the world. But because the Toros are so close, you know, to me, it's like, well, they have direct contact with me, so I didn't want to deal with that anymore. I let it go through as naturally as possible. But yeah, I kind of knew about the kit beforehand. But anyways, We're talking about Juan David Cabezas. We went on a huge tangent. Anyway, so Juan David Cabezas, key element for Wilmer Cabrera with the Houston Dynamo in 2017. It's a shame that in the later parts of his career with the Dynamo, he had a history of injuries. According to the player, if I recall correctly from the media day press conference, he did mention that was behind him. Those injuries were behind him. So I hope that's the case. I think he's a really good player. I think he's better than the average USL player, to be honest. So, but it's the injuries that kind of screwed him from being more time with the Houston Dynamo. If he's behind all that, man, we really got to steal from by getting Juan David Cabezas. So Jacob, what are your thoughts? I don't think we got yours.
No. Instead, we got a long story from you about that because I said about the kick. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Juan David Cabezas. We talked about it a while back, and even you brought up some fantastic points. It just it seemed like that was a normal thing in Houston where an RGVFC player would go down or go up to Houston, and all of a sudden we would have ourselves that player gets injured, he can't he can't go back down to RGVFC, or he goes back down to RGVFC because of that whole thing. So, like he said, hopefully that's really behind him and he's going to be that 100% because guess what? It's a legit training staff down here where that's most likely not going to happen, and the Toros know how to actually train, unlike apparently the Houston Dynamo. Guess what? I'm not a Dynamo fan anymore, so I could say these things without feeling even a little bit of regret. So, I'm looking forward to Juan David Cabezas. It's another great ad. Again, he's got to be that leader the same way that Victor, that he is. And it's just going to be fantastic as long as everybody can get together like that and have that dynamic chemistry with him being right there. We have a lethal defense and a lethal attack. And that's not something that you can say a lot considering, what was it, close to 6 years ago, whenever Wilmer Cabrera first got hired. The one thing that I can remind you that he said, and he said this perfectly, which was a great analogy, but he's like, you can't have both. You can't have defense or offense. Or you can't have defense and offense. You can only have one or the other. It's like a blanket. It's like a blanket that's too small. You can either have it for your feet or your midsection. That's the truth. But it looks like we're going to have ourselves great defense and offense and even decent midfield where we struggled at forever.
And I think one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest gripes that I had from last season was the midfield just could not keep possession. It was bad. Like, we were left off guard many times, and a lot of those mistakes ended up costing goals because our defense was way out of position when we lost the ball in the midfield. So I think it's a huge upgrade with Juan David Cabezas. Now, Alexis Cerritos. Ray, I know we talked about Alexis Cerritos a little bit on the South Texas Border Sports podcast a couple of weeks ago. Go ahead and remind the fans about Alexis Cerritos. What do you know about Alexis Cerritos?
Well, Alexis Cerritos, he is the son of Ronald Cerritos, former MLS veteran himself. Not Alexis Cerritos, but he's the son of Ronald, who has played multiple times within the MLS, including the Dynamo as well. Alexis has also played for El Salvador, if I'm not mistaken, in 3 different occasions at the youth level. So it's going to be very interesting to see how his professional development comes with the Toros. If you can recall that in year one of Wilmer, there was hardly anyone under the age of 21 during that roster period. Everyone was like 22, 23, 24, 25, and even some of the players that were a wee bit older. But he's going to be a real interesting prospect to see, because I can see him coming in the second half of games to really just wear out USL defenses even more with his speed.
So Cerritos was a member of Orange County SC. Really did not have considerable appearances with Orange County. He only made 3 appearances, and they all totaled 32 minutes. He did play for Loudoun United in 2019. He also, it says here in the press release, he competed with AD Oliveirense in Portugal. He has represented El Salvador with the senior squad. He made his debut against Canada in 2017. If I'm not mistaken, that was at BBVA Stadium in Houston. It was really, like I said, Alex Cerritos, he's still young. He hasn't really had considerable minutes at a professional level. We'll see how Wilmer develops, and we'll see what plans Wilmer has for him with this RGVFC lineup. Yeah. But like I said, it's an interesting prospect. He's young. But unlike other years where it was like this team was mostly like players right out of college with zero professional experience, I think we've seen like now it's like the majority of the players have had USL or professional experience with, in general within this roster. So I think that's a huge addition. Can we translate that onto the pitch where it matters? We have yet to see, but our first test is going to be this Saturday. All right. So next one, we've got Kembo Kabato being loaned to Tulsa. We'll make this really quick. So what are my thoughts about Kembo Kabato leaving to Tulsa? I think I discussed this with Harry via, talking to him once. It seems to me like this was a transaction to regain an international slot. Let's not forget that Kembo Kabato did take up an international slot with this club. Considering the midfielders that the Toros have acquired during this offseason, it was highly unlikely what Kembo was going to see any considerable minutes. So why are you going to use an international slot for a player that you're just going to be having on the bench or up on the stands? It just doesn't make any sense. So they decided to loan Kembo Kabato to FC Tulsa. It sucks because it's because of him, obviously, of course, of good friend Juan, who won the EUSL FIFA Championship for RGVFC Toros. We're going to lose such a good FIFA player, but I don't think we're going to have an EUSL anymore. So on the field is a priority. It comes first. Kembo, I'm sorry. I'm really appreciative of all you've done for the Toros, but I think this was the best for both the club and the player. Moving now to FC Tulsa.
Yeah, and even I'll say something real quick too. Yep, it goes down to business. You talked perfectly about it. Midfield was already stacked, and that is fantastic. And now, of course, he's going to receive minutes in Tulsa Roughnecks FC. I'm not going to call him FC Tulsa. That's lame. You talk about it. It's just no mascot.
Okay.
What is it anyway?
I'm gonna have to catch you right there. Technically, the mascot is the Scissortail bird.
Okay, Scissortail FC. I like that even better.
By the way,
Tulsa Scissortail FC.
By the way,
you see Tulsa. There we go. That's your name.
By the way, thank you RGVFC. Thank you Z for tuning in, man. Appreciate you all of your support. Bobby says we are like other USL clubs now. What do you mean by that, Bobby? Just curious about that. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so it's a I think it's a good deal. Even for Tulsa, they get a solid player that can still have time to develop. I mean, most likely this isn't a chance for Tulsa to also buy if they like him at the end of the loan, right?
Yes, it is a loan.
Then then yeah, exactly. With a chance to buy, that's going to be good for
I'm
him.
not
He's
sure
going to
there's.
continue.
I'm not sure if it's a loan to buy.
Well, either way, when the loan runs out, he's most likely going to have a chance for that anyway. My point is, Tulsa could probably try and get him, or whatever the case may be. Point being, it's good for him. He gets to continue to develop,
Now,
and so that's all a plus.
Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fans that were, and when this news came out, they were probably asking like, "Hey, didn't we just announce him as a re-sign, in the end of last year?" Yes, but you have to remember that Kemba Kibato was technically a Dynamo player, is a Dynamo signing, not an RGVFC signing. So Wilmer comes in. He probably wasn't a fit for Wilmer. He just didn't fit in Wilmer's plans. And so he gets loaned out. So that's the thing about Kemba Kibato.
Yeah.
Moving on real quick, because I really want to talk a little bit about Saturday's match against New Mexico United. We're not gonna have a huge discussion about this news. I'm just gonna mention it. So RGVFC did announce their technical staff. Edson Ochoa comes back. He will be the lead scout for the club. He's going to be director of scouting and assistant coach for Wilmer Cabrera. So Edson Ochoa continues to be a Toro.
Yep.
Glad for that.
Hashtag no comment.
There it is, everybody. All right.
Hashtag better than Wilmer somewhat.
I guess I'm guessing in his media relations. I think I can definitely
exactly.
I can definitely agree with that.
More friendly.
But
Wilmer won't be talking to us that much like Jerson was.
No comment.
No comment.
No, oye, luego se enoja Wilmer conmigo. Like I don't want to get him mad, dude.
Of course not.
But anyways,
Pero los que callan otorgan, Edson, nomás recuerda eso.
Bueno, eso
Como se
sí.
lo dije a Clara en su tiempo y te lo digo a ti, el que calla otorga.
There it is, everybody. I think we talked ad nauseum about Wilmer Cabrera and his and the observations I had while he was with the Dynamo. Anyway,
hey, I mean, just Wilmer Cabrera, coach, he'll do good. He can coach. You got to keep the team under. Just got to keep them focused. That's it. Just like everybody, every coach has to keep their team focused. As long as he does that, we see no problem.
love you too, RGVFC. We love you too, Z. We love what you're doing with social media, man. Keep up the good work.
Follow Jacob Young 456.
Oh yeah,
because
he's
Bold are following him.
Oh,
Bold, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little salty that Austin Bold follows him, but not RGVFC. So
It's true.
kind of taking advantage that you're in chat. Can you do me a huge favor about that? Anyway, God, I feel like Sam Wilson. Like, oh wait, never mind. I'm pretty sure there's people that have not seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't want to spoil anything. Anyway. Mike, thank you for joining us. He says, "What's up? What did I miss? I was meeting with 76 for aways." Oh man, that is going to be great. There's a lot of plans for away watch parties, so be on the lookout for that. So all right, Arturo Sanchez will be the goalkeeper coach. Arturo Sanchez was a backup goalkeeper. Actually, I would say he was like the third string goalkeeper back in 2016 for the Toros. He retired. He became a goalkeeper coach for Austin Bold, for San Antonio, for St. Mary's University. He was recently hired at a San Antonio Youth Academy, and now he has gotten the job as the goalkeeping coach for RGVSC under Wilmer Cabrera. I want to see how he works, as a goalkeeping coach. And then Joan Casanova will be the strength and fitness coach For the Toros, he does have experience in the Indian Super League, Hong Kong Premier League, and of course the squad that he was in Hong Kong competed in the AFC Champions League as well. And then Rafael Amaya, who was the RGVFC Academy director, will come on as the Youth Academy liaison and assistant coach for Wilmer Cabrera. So that is the lineup for the assistant technical staff. And now let's move forward. We got two more signings to talk about, and these are the, I guess you can say, kind of like the icing on the cake. So we've got the signing of Rodrigo Lopez to RGVFC. You know what's funny about this is because a couple of months ago, when the USL Championship, they tweeted out Rodrigo Lopez is now a free agent. Where do you think he's gonna go next? And they had like a gif of like Rodrigo Lopez like wearing like the jerseys of all the teams in the USL Championship. And it just so happened that when I paused it, when I took the screenshot, it landed on the Toros one, and I tweeted it out. And he responds to me. I think it was like a thumbs up or something like that. I don't remember what exactly he tweeted about. So I was
You're the reason.
So I was like, what's going on here? And I'm not gonna lie, like, I think the fact that like he's been pretty attentive down in the valley as well. So
Instantly.
yeah, so I think that was like he was giving me hints about there's something brewing right there, because he was like paying attention about what was happening in the Rio Grande Valley, what we were talking about during the offseason, and this and that. Anyway, it becomes official. Rodrigo Lopez did get signed by the RGVFC Toros. He is a veteran in the USL. He has experience in Liga MX with Toluca, and he was with Sacramento Republic. In the 2020 season, he appeared in 14 games, so starting in 11 of those. He had a goal and 3 assists with 26 key passes, with an 84.2 passing accuracy and 62 passes per 90 minutes in the center of the field. So he is a distributor in the game, based on the press release. He is actually historic to Sacramento. He was their first signing of club's history. And that was back in 2014. He is, let me see, how old is he? He is 32. So he's not as old as Vicente Sanchez, and he's still got some years ahead of him. But he has experience, which is what him and Juan David Cabezas in the midfield. Ooh, that's a lot of experience right there for the club. Hey, how many years were we like, we want experienced players. We want players that people recognize. Y que este que el otro. And they called me a madman. It's like, no, that's never going to happen. Because, well, it took Dynamo Independence, but it's happening. Exactly. I don't know what do you guys think about Rodrigo Lopez. What do you guys think? Chat. What do you guys think of the signing? I'll go with you, Ray. What do you think about Rodrigo Lopez?
First of all, hashtag ponle casa, hashtag things old front office couldn't do.
Le pongo un Oxxo con doble caja que sí atiende a la gente. Así, mira, me pongo de pie y si tuviera sombrero me lo quitara en este momento. Así tengo a Rodrigo López en estos momentos. Así te lo dejo claro.
Well, I absolutely love this signing. You talk about a player who has had multiple USL seasons under his belt. The guy, when we were able to have media access to him on Tuesday, it was so much. It was a refreshing sign to see,
Yep.
that there's like rejuvenated blood. There's that that newfound hope that I keep mentioning about, and yes, the criticisms are there that we're not making the playoffs or anything, and that's fine. I'm not gonna jump on no vote on either side. I mean, I want to see the season played out, despite that we're about 2-3 weeks behind that 8 ball. But I just feel like this signing of Rodrigo Lopez is a very welcomed one. I that's just the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying this stream, be sure to give it a like button, share it with all of your friends. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back better than ever, and it's going to continue on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live. So let all of your friends know we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and 100% Valley proud. Jacob, your thoughts on Rodrigo Lopez?
Yeah. To be fair, let me start off with this. I'd never heard of him as a player in general. He got signed to RGVFC and instantly, honestly, kind of became a fan favorite. What I can tell you about this, be active on social media as a player. As long as you don't do anything wrong on there, you will earn a lot of fans. Let me tell you something about that. Instantly got followed by this man there. That's just talking about off the field production in general. So if he's got that much off the field production and seems like just a genuinely good class act and nice guy, he's going to come onto the field and he's going to be that fierce competitor inside that midfield. And it's just going to be epic. It's going to be very fun to watch, I think. And just to see, as long as he's got that leadership, got the chemistry with everybody around him, it's going to be pure. I know that I've brought up that word about 5 or 6 times here tonight, but it's so true considering how late the Toros started. And before I even left to take a hiatus on this show, I talked about that too. What the heck's going to happen with this team? Why haven't we signed anybody? All that stuff. Now it's going to be the issue of if we do get these players and all that, well, it's going to be just that simple thing of will they have that chemistry? Because I can bring up a quick little talk. New York Jets, they just a long time back they had finished up a 10-win season, missing the playoffs, and then that next year they had signed a bunch of players as well, kept that all-star lineup, wide receivers, everybody, but they had no chemistry, so they won about 5 games. Point being, they stunk. So if we have that chemistry, it's going to be pretty great considering how late everything came together.
And you were there yesterday as Ray as well. By the way, he had to step out because he will be hopping at, I believe it's at the Seek and Strike podcast for the New Mexico United fan podcast. He will be hopping on to represent the Toros in a Mountain Division discussion. So be on the lookout for that. We will be promoting that episode when it comes out on the Down in the Valley social media, so you guys can listen to what Ray talks about the Toros with other Mountain Division podcasters. Anyway, okay, so what were we going to talk? Oh, yes. So we were there yesterday for open practice, and we talked to Rodrigo Lopez and we talked to Wilmer Cabrera. And the reason we're bringing this up because, you mentioned that we are behind or Ray mentioned it too, we are behind the 8 ball. They do admit that is going to be an issue. It's something that, they couldn't control. But they are going to focus on making sure that this team plays well together, that they are kind of like entertaining to watch. And then as the games go by, the team will gel together even more. So hopefully by mid-season at the end of the season, we can see a very well-defined team within the Toros. That's one of the reasons why I don't think we're going to make it to the playoffs. And I know I talked about it with Ray, it's like, yes, the Toros have gotten better when it comes to their signings, but so has every other club. So it's going to be a good question about how the level of play in these new Toros, how is it comparing to the rest of the Mountain Division? So there's that incognito at this moment, but they are going to be entertaining to watch. That is what Coach Wilmer Cabrera, that is what Rodrigo Lopez did promise us in what they talked about. So really looking forward to that. But anyway, one more signing, and then we'll talk about New Mexico United. All right, this one, Eric Pimentel, former Club America center back, being signed by RGVFC. This really got the attention of Liga MX fans, or mostly of Club America fans, that knew Pimentel from his time in America.
Yeah, those fans.
Yes, those. You say it like it's a bad thing, but anyway, look. At this point, we need to attract all the fans in the Rio Grande Valley that we want.
Yep.
Okay, so we cannot be gatekeeping. You know, we don't have the luxury to gatekeep people if they want to be a Toros fan or not. So, but anyway,
I'm not gatekeeping.
I'm just saying. I'm
an MLS fan. Let's be clear.
No, I get it, and I'm not saying you are, but it's like we can't. No, that's why I'm like we can't be like you're only here because of Eric Pimentel kind of thing. Like, no, welcome. Okay, so Eric Pimentel, 30 years old, made 82 appearances with Club America, 2 goals and 1 assist. However, after that, look, I don't doubt that Eric Pimentel has talent for the US at the USL level.
Yeah.
I don't. That's something that I'm not going to deny, and I know this for sure. I think in the USL Championship level, I think he can be a really, really good asset, especially with his experiences, not only as Liga MX player, but he has been in the CONCACAF Champions League. He's participated in the Club World Cup. After they got eliminated, per se, you know, he was kind of like the backup for Club America, but he participated in the Club World Cup nonetheless. I mean, it's still experience. However, there is something that I do want to talk about, and I think people need to realize this about Down in the Valley. Just like we talk about the positives, we can also talk about the negatives here too. So, all right. So we look at Eric Pimentel, right? So, and apparently, what? Come on, transfer market. Oh, there.
Apparently, he doesn't exist.
No, it's just because the E in Eric has an accent, and because I typed it without it, and because I typed it without an accent, it's like, no, I don't know who that guy is. But anyway, so here's the thing about Eric Pimentel. After Club America, where he was for 2 years,
yep,
he moved to Atlante, then went to Puebla, and then so with Atlante he was there for a couple years. Moved back to after his loan with Atlante, he moved back to America, where he stayed there for 5 years. Okay, which that is good. Then he moves on a loan to Puebla in 2017. Returns to Puebla, gets another. Actually, the loan ends, and then he gets transferred to Puebla on a free transfer, where he was there for 1 year. After that year, he was without a club. He went on to Deportivo Mixco in Guatemala. And from what I'm hearing, Deportivo Mixco got relegated that season. Ends last year in 2020. His contract with Mixco is without a club. Gets signed by Correcaminos in September. and then spends those 6 months with Correcaminos. Now he's without a club, and then he returns to, and now he gets signed by the Toros. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know how long we're going to have Eric Pimentel. That's the thing, though. It's like outside of those 5 years with Club America, he's kind of been all over the place. So I'm worried that he might leave us after this year. And I think what the club, what this team needs is something is a long term, like another USL clubs, where you have a base squad that really doesn't move or doesn't change a lot from year to year. And Eric Pimentel, I'm just worried that he's gonna be like 1 year and then he's gone. Either he has a bad spell, he doesn't get renewed, or he decides to go for another club. That's the only kind of question I have about Eric Pimentel from what we do know.
No, that's a good question to definitely have, considering exactly what is his product going to be like on the field too, because he could have a very poor first year, and that could be the difference maker of him staying or going. If he has a decent year, I think he stays, considering, well, Wilmer will probably want a couple of those players back. Now, of course, you can have veterans, but if they get to that age where they're past their prime, they start to lose value, and it's not necessarily tough to sell them. It's just one of those situations where their value also goes down because their performance on the pitch. So, yeah, it's just going to be one of those things you have to wait and see. Only time will tell if this player is going to be worth it. Yes, we trust in Wilmer Cabrera and why he signed this player, but with the stats leading up to it, with the base that we have as analysts, kind of, we can tell, is this really worth it? Will he be staying, considering he's only stayed with past Club America for about a year or two?
I'm looking at his time at Correcaminos in the second division of Liga MX. He played almost all games. I think ever since he became a part of the club, he was pretty much a starter until, and I think only one game he was on the bench and didn't go in. But other than that, he was a starter. Now, it could also be, and it's the same thing with Deportivo Mixco. It's like, yes, Club America won 4 championships while he was in Club America, but it really wasn't him. Right? It's just Club America was really good at that. It was really good at that time, and he was a part of it. But that doesn't make him the greatest defender in the world. Neither does the fact that Mixco got relegated and Correcaminos was really not that great. You can't just 100%. You can't pin the success 100% on Eric Pimentel. You can't pin the failures on Eric Pimentel alone either. You have to look at what he had around him. And from what I'm hearing, Deportivo Mixco really, like, the talent level was just subpar. Yeah. So if he was signed to be the savior of the club, well, I mean, it's going to be almost impossible. More than one, yes. But I can't give you a pretty much a substantiated claim about all of this, because I don't watch Liga de Guatemala. I don't watch Expansión de MX. I should, but I don't. So whatever I say, it's like, it's unsubstantiated, right? So don't take my word for granted. I'm just going by what transfer market is telling me. And if you look at the results by Correcaminos while he was with them last season, 2 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses.
Yeah.
So it's a big incognito. In name, it's a really great signing. It's going to attract a lot of fans. But we have yet to see how positive he is going to be out on the pitch. I want to believe that he's going to be the leader. He is going to be great, right? Because it is the USL Championship. The USL Championship isn't La Liga de Guatemala. It isn't Liga de Expansión, right? But if somebody else that is completely unbiased, that is not a Toros fan, looks at these numbers, and I've already had kind of people like say, like, why are y'all so hyped up about Eric Pimentel? It's like relegated Mexico and this and that. So it's like, I want to believe, right? But at the same time, I have to present to you the facts, the stats about this player, so that way you guys can make your own informed decision. Look at the stats. Just look at the stats right there. Make your own informed decision. I can give you my opinion. Jacob can give you his opinion.
Yeah.
But we are not here to tell you what to think. We are here to tell you how to think, and for you to make your own opinion about the player. And you guys might probably hate the signing. And if you guys are in the chat, you guys are more than welcome to post your thoughts about it and tell us why we're wrong, or tell us, you know what, you're right, kind of thing. Obviously, we're going to be supporting Eric Pimentel. We're going to be supporting all of the players because we want this team to gel. We want this team to do good, to do well in the USL Championship season. And I really want to believe that he is going to be worth the signing, because this is what the team needs. This is what we asked for. And then if it doesn't work, like, then all of us that were asking for named signings for former Liga MX players to be signed at the USL Championship level, then we're going to be made look like fools, right? Yep. So, like I said, the information is there. Make your own decision based on that. But anyway, moving forward, that was all the signings. New Mexico United on Saturday. The homecoming of Chelo Martinez. What are your thoughts on New Mexico?
Thoughts on New Mexico United? They will have a good fan base, is what I'm hearing. Not necessarily that they're, well, that's actually totally besides the point, since we don't play against them. But yeah, it's, I don't know. They always bring a challenge no matter what. Very successful. Of course, the biggest thing that I want to see out of this game is what I can say here is that the Toros hold their own. Basically, that we see a little bit of improvement from, or that type of momentum that we kind of saw from the score lines, at least from the preseason games. Yes, of course, we were without a couple of late signees that we ended up getting, considering that a signee only came yesterday. So there's that. But yeah, like I said, I just want to see a little bit of improvement. Want to see the Toros definitely score. And if, they get scored on or anything like that, not that big of a deal. It's just you don't want to see what happens when we have to face Los Dos. So just definitely nothing like that, as long as it's just an improvement, even if it's technically a tie or even a loss. It's not going to be that bad, as long as we just see some things that we can work on, that RGVFC can work on, and that just, a little bit of a base, that's a good thing. That's what I want to see. It's going to be very difficult to see otherwise, considering it is the first game with this new team. Remember, we can go back to 2016, the first year, and, well, the Toros did not get off to the best of starts. Yes, they didn't even have their practice field ready, so that was part of the issue, but my point still stands where, hey, as long as we start to see a little bit of gel at that start of the game, it's going to be a great way up. Only way, of course, will be up.
So I'm trying to, excuse me, my throat is getting dry. So I'm trying to look on their Twitter account to see what their results in preseason were. But I do remember they were on a hot streak, especially Chelo Martinez. Chelo scored, I think, against Colorado Switchbacks, he earned a brace in that game. I think they won like 3-0 or 3-1 or something like that. So New Mexico's kind of been on fire. And I mean, it's pretty normal considering the fact that they really didn't have a lot of changes from last season to this season, you know. So they're going to be a lot more composed coming into this match. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for the Toros with all of everything that's going on. I mean, this team is behind on the 8 ball when it comes to preseason.
Yeah.
The chemistry just isn't there 100% yet, you know, compared to other teams. You know, it's a new squad, like almost completely new squad, new coach, new everything, you know. So
Yeah.
if they
/ old coach.
yeah, if they hang on to New Mexico United, I think that will be kind of like a wake up call for the rest of the USL to not sleep on the Toros. But if you ask me what my prediction is going to be, I'm going to go ahead here and dare say it's a 2-1 loss.
I'd say that's very fair, and I'd say it would be around the same deal for me. If anything, maybe 3-2, where Toros get a late goal, but it was already basically 3-1. So, yeah, one of those situations I'd definitely take indeed. That's just the biggest thing. Toros need to get out of the gate scoring. They cannot wait around, and I'm not talking about first minute or anything like that. No, I'm just saying they need to open up scoring in general in the game, show what they can, because that's been the issue for after year 1, basically, or year 2. Those years, they might have had all the possession in the world, but they could not get the shots even on target. So things like that, as long as we're seeing shots on target, challenges like that, I think that's going to be a good base. 3-2 loss, like I said, for me, but just a little things like that on the inside, on-field play is going to be perfect.
So, Sloth, going back to Eric Pimentel real quick, he says, at least these Liga MX veterans will most likely bring in more outside fans. That is very true, and we are seeing that on social media. Actually, he did say that. He says that after seeing comments on RGV's social media with these signings, more people are getting interested into coming to the games. That is very true. But at the end of the day, you have to remember it's how they perform on the field that really counts, right? That's what we're trying to say. I love the signing. Don't get me wrong. But looking at these things is kind of like a head scratcher kind of thing. Like I said, I'm just kind of bringing up both sides of the argument so you guys can make your own informed decision. I have my own opinion. Jacob has his own opinion. We all have our own opinions. I just bringing in all of the information that is available to us about Eric Pimentel kind of thing. So anyway, trying to find. I'm still trying to go through all of New Mexico United's Twitter accounts because they don't have preseason posted on their social media. But RGV, their off season was they tied against Austin Bold, they lost 3-2 against Austin FC, and then they tied 2-2 against San Antonio FC. I do know that. Starting lineups, we really don't know. Could be a Wilmer thing, and I talked to Jacob about it yesterday, knowing how Wilmer can kind of loves to keep his cards close to his chest. The fact that RGV did not have any starting lineups for those, it could be that, or it just could be that, he just wasn't available on site. We don't know, but I wouldn't put it past Wilmer Cabrera to kind of be keeping his cards close to his chest during preseason when it comes to starting lineups. Who knows the truth? Definitely not us. But that's just my guess, I guess. But yes, New Mexico United, limited to 3,000 fans. So if you guys haven't got your tickets and you want to go to see the game, go ahead and buy your tickets now. And hopefully we can get a sellout crowd of 3,000 for this match, supporting the Toros, from kickoff all the way to the final whistle. We do know that the curse which is the New Mexico United's official supporters group, will be making the trip down to the Rio Grande Valley. So it is very imperative that the RGVFC fans, show up to this game. And don't let the curse drown us out, because we had that happen with San Antonio, and it wasn't even the official supporters group. And yeah, that was a little bit embarrassing, to say the least. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we talked about predictions, bold predictions. Man, I miss saying that. Bold prediction, Jacob.
Bold prediction. Well, that would be RGVFC win by a big margin. And all of a sudden, we're seeing a team that could honestly be unbreakable from minute one. That would be my bold prediction, is that this team is going to be that great. And there's going to be no hiccups from being that late on the 8 ball to start up the season. And RGVFC win easily 3-0.
Can I just say before...
And Cello gets shut out.
Can I just say before I say my bold prediction, how surprised I am that you didn't say that the game goes haywire and there's like a bunch of red cards. Just like you usually do.
Nope, not this game.
All right, here's my bold prediction. 90th minute goal by RGVFC. Own goal by Chelo Martinez. That's my bold prediction.
A striker making an own goal or midfielder making an own goal. That is bold. I guess off of a set piece, yeah.
Yeah.
It by accident.
That is my bold prediction. I wish we could talk about potential starting 11s, but considering how close to his chest Wilmer had his cards during the offseason, as well as obviously New Mexico United keeping theirs close as well. I really don't have much to say that's educated at this point. However, one
Tyler
thing
Derrick, goalkeeper. That's about all I can say.
That's Eric Pimentel, and that's the thing though. I think we have some players that are injured. I think Arturo Dispe was injured. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on it. But I did hear that he got knocked up in the soccer kind of way, not the other Spence House. He got a knock in one of the preseason games. But I do know that Eric Pimentel would probably be the first. I do have to add to my bold prediction. If it's not Chelo Martinez getting the own goal, it's going to be Diego Rocha getting the goal.
Yeah.
Diego Rocha coming in as a substitute, scoring that late minute goal. The crowd goes wild. Everybody just like, no, that's not going to happen with COVID anyway. But anyways, yes, Sloth. that is very bold. That's what it's here for. Sloth, I want to hear your predictions, man. Whoever's in the chat right now, whoever's watching right now, I want to see your all's predictions and bold predictions as well. Like, come on, guys, this is your show as well. So give us those...
RGVFC being the only team to win in Texas in week 1. That's also bold.
That is very, very bold as well. Let's see. What was I? So with RGV, yeah, we're gonna have a short turnaround for next week's show. It's gonna be on a Wednesday, thankfully, but the next day, San Diego Loyal is coming to town. Landon Donovan is coming to town to play the Toros next Thursday. So, yeah. But as I was saying, when it comes to like starting 11, let's see what Wilmer brings out in this game against New Mexico United. And then I think we can start making some educated guesses, based on what we can actually see. That's the second thing about preseason, especially now since like all of the preseason matches were behind closed doors when it comes to RGVFC. So we really don't have no idea what formation Wilmer used, what players he used, What were some of the tactical changes that he made in between matches? We know none of that. We're not going to find out until New Mexico United. So then we're going to have, as the games progress, then we're going to see the general
More of an
pattern.
idea.
Yeah, and we're going to see the general pattern of Wilmer Cabrera in Toros 2.0. But
3-1, 4-4-2. We talking 5-4-3.
now I do know that Wilmer likes using that 4-2-3-1. He used it a lot for the Dynamo.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt it that he's gonna see that. He's gonna use that for RGV as well. Sloth says 2-1 dub for RGV, the scariest scoreline prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening. Too.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's just pretty much it. I know it was a lot of information that we went through, and like I said, it just so happens that we were off for pretty much a whole month due to me moving from all my stuff from Houston to McAllen. But now that's all left behind. I've got most of the stuff set up at this
Gotta
moment.
be back one more time to say officially goodbye.
Say what again?
You just one more time. You got to be back up to Houston.
No, yes, that is true. That is true.
And that's officially when you say goodbye.
You're scaring me, man. I thought you were like gonna announce that you were leaving again down in the valley. I was like, no, don't do that to me. You just told me you were coming back. But yeah. I'm really appreciative of all that Houston has done. I'm honestly glad for this new chapter in the Rio Grande Valley, back in my hometown, back to the place that saw me, the land that saw me being born. Looking forward to covering the Toros up close and personal now. And I think you guys all deserve, this kind of coverage. This is your channel. This is your show as well. Your feedback is greatly welcome. What can we do to improve? I know there's some stuff that I want to improve, and I talked to Jacob about it, more of an organization about the topics, et cetera, here and there. But now that I'm settled down, I should be able to be a lot more organized when it comes to the shows. And now that it's going to be week after week having a show like a normal schedule, we don't have to cram so many topics into one show. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it was kind of like a last minute decision. Oh yeah, we're back kind of thing. But yeah, join us next week on next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for another episode of the Down in the Valley podcast. My name is Edson Ochoa. You were accompanied as well by Jacob Young. I want to thank our sponsors, Roughneck Scarves, Natural Beauty Spa, Icarus FC, and also want to thank our patrons, Johnny Reese, Santos Cisneros, Jeff Strong, Harry Austin, Gilbert Guajardo, and Eddie De La Garza. And of course, my dad, Javier Ochoa. Thank you all for your support on the Patreon. If you guys want to support us financially, you can check out patreon.com/downinthergv. There's 3 different tiers. They all get different perks. If you guys join the Rep the 956 tier, you do enter an opportunity for the raffle of a replica RGVFC home kit. So there's that right there. Also, if you are a #BlameEdson tier or a Rep the 956 tier, you will have the perk of participating in a once a month Patreon specific roundtable episode, which was supposed to happen in this today's show, but because of all the timing, I am moving into next week. So if any patrons are listening to me on the podcast or right now live, please make plans for next Wednesday at 7 p.m. to join us on the Patreon episode for the month of April. I know it's going to be in May, but it'll technically be for April. If you guys missed any part of the show, please check out our audio podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and Anchor FM, as well as on Breaker. Follow us on our social media at Down in the RGV on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. Jacob, where can they find you?
Finding me on Twitter, Jacob Young 456. And if you want to see some cool random racing, baseball, or whatever content, then follow the Overreacted Gamer on Twitch.
By the way, Jacob, my new desk, my new L-shaped desk, just arrived today. Once I have that set up, I'm going to put my my steering wheel and my pedals back, and I want to do some more sim racing, like we were doing a couple of months ago, because that was really fun. So be sure to check out twitch.tv/downintherRGV if you guys want my point of view. But follow Jacobs. He's done it more than me on Twitch at the Overreacted Gamer. Follow him on Twitch and check out his gaming content right there. On behalf as well of Rey Silva, you can find him at SOTX Athletics with an X on Twitter, South Texas Border Sports on Instagram. Check out all of his podcast, the South Texas Border Sports Podcast, Toros related, Vipers related, UTRGV Athletics related. You guys want to know more about that? Rey Silva is your guy. He's there. He's been there constantly at the trainings, at the games. When I wasn't around, Jacob was there too as well. But he was continuously being there on the front line, getting information about the totals. So I think he deserves y'all's support as well. Follow him, listen to his podcast, and share it with all your friends. And this is going to be it for this week. Thank you all for your support. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Down in the Valley. Take care, drink plenty of water, wear your mask, and be rowdy on Saturday. Come Saturday night, let's show New Mexico United who reigns in the South.